What's going on, YouTube? It's KRISTINA and Martin here from Thrift Store Gold back at you with another video, another live interview. So today we got Dominic, the primetime treasure hunter, in the house. Say what's up, Dom.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing?
It's good to see you, Dom. Great. So happy you could come and do this interview with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We're so excited to finally have you on the channel and actually have to get the opportunity to interview you.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I love you guys. So it's great to be together for the first time on YouTube, but we've been together on Instagram before.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
A couple times actually. So this is cool.
Yeah.
So we made a list of 8 questions for you, all
right.
eBay and reselling. So
okay.
We're gonna let a couple more people roll into the live stream before we start into it,
so they don't miss anything good.
Yeah. So for anybody that isn't here, we do have Dom's channel in the description, so go subscribe if you're not already.
That's awesome.
You want to say
anything? I was gonna say hi to Laura Cohn in the house, and also I see Bunny Wilk is here as well. So both primetime fangirls. So
well, thank you for coming on.
We got the Four-Eyed Hustler in the house. Good to see you. And then
I like that, Four-Eyed Hustler.
Yeah. And Bryant Willings. Good to see you here.
He's a big supporter of ours.
Awesome. That's great.
Cool.
All right, we got more people trickling in. We're up to 15. We got to crush that record of 29.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what it is? Yeah, you know what it is now. People see that you're live now, so once that it shows up you're live, it draws more people in. So
yeah.
Exactly.
So, wow. Okay.
All right. So thank you for everyone coming in so early today.
Yes. We got Neil in the house. Yes. Chase in the house. All right.
I was waiting at
8:30. 8:30. So and I saw Duncan in here actually as well.
Oh yes.
Let's go with the first question.
All right. Number 1 would be, when did you start to sell on eBay and why?
I started to sell on eBay in 2000, which was just a few years after eBay started, which was in 96. And it was just a confluence of events. I happened to be in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the time, going to graduate school. And there was this really cool place called the Swap Shop, which was this gigantic outdoor, mostly outdoor, partly indoor, but mostly outdoor flea market. And in Florida, it's warm, so it's warm all year round. So it was just a constant sourcing availability place that we could go to, and we would go and we would pick things up for 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, and then we'd bring it back home. And I always tell people when I say the story, we did not have any apps back then, so there was no check whether or not there was no way to check comps or anything. So you had to go by just instinct and gut. It was a good way to develop a good eye, because sometimes you make a really great score, and other times you'd completely flop and come home. You thought you had something worth, that was valuable. You look it up when you got home. You could only look it up when you got home. So you were tied to your computer back at home. No one was really walking around with cell phones and apps back then. So if people had cell phones, there was no eBay app or anything like that, so you couldn't really look it up. So it was really just a way to make money on the side, just to have some extra spending money and some spending cash. And so that's when I got started with eBay, was back then. It hasn't been a continuous run, but that is when I started it.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Crazy to think that there was a time before apps.
Yeah, there was.
How old were we in 2000?
3. We were 3.
Yeah, I feel old when I say these kind of things now. I mean, I told my wife, Mrs. Primetime, before I came down here, that we were talking about Chris Campbell, a New York Nifty thrifter. He refers to me as his YouTube father.
Yeah.
He calls me Pops.
Yeah.
And I mean, man, I feel old when I have someone who I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but he's I don't know, he's his 20s or 30s, and he's calling me Pops. I know.
I think he said he was like 32. 30.
Yeah, so I'm not quite that old, so I don't know. You might have to come up with a new nick, maybe cousin or something. I don't know about
Cousin.
Maybe if he's watching,
Yeah.
we'll take the tip.
Yeah, now I should say something because Laura brought up a good point in the chat. Is it's you got to remember back then there was no PayPal, guys. Okay, so PayPal had like just come out. I don't remember exactly what year, but it wasn't really integrated with eBay. So you would sell something and you would literally have to wait for either the check to come in the mail, a money order to come in the mail, and some people sent cash in the mail.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
So that's how it worked. You would basically wait a week for your payment and then you'd ship it out.
Mhm.
Wow.
It was crazy.
So instant now.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. And Laura mentions another thing that is true. It was all auction back then, folks. There was no such thing as buy it now. Everything you put up had to be auctioned, and that they really did have to change that because people started to want things more immediately. And the other thing, it was hurting a lot of sellers because if you put things up too high, you might not make the sale. And then a lot of people would try a strategy of starting things at a penny to generate interest.
Yeah.
And it wound up that if it wasn't an item that there was more than 2 people interested in within that month, or more than 1 person interested, a lot of things were being sold for a penny that were actually pretty valuable things. So people were losing out. So for all those reasons, they had to shift over to a buy it now system, and that was actually a very good move on their part.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know there was only auctions back then.
Oh yeah, yep.
Crazy.
It's good. I have to remind myself of this, that I have to give a little historical perspective sometimes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And another thing, Laura's just a great moderator. She's moderating the chat here. She moderates in my Facebook groups. But she's right, and it does happen still now with auctions, especially if you have something real valuable. The last 60 seconds, that's when everyone goes and tries to grab it at the last second, and everything gets bid up. It still happens, but it happened back then too.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So quick, go through the chat. It looks like we got Noah in the house from Wholesale Direct.
Yeah. Come on, we got 3 more to go to tie.
3 more.
Oh no!
4 more to beat this record of 26. Come on.
Oh man.
We got
Yeah, we're at 27.
Friends. Yeah. Get your kids signed on.
I know.
Come on, guys, let's break it.
We got this. We got this.
Any questions in the chat?
Not yet. And even if there was, it looks like Laura answered all of them. So
that's awesome. My first time seeing you. I watch Dom all the time. Oh, that's awesome.
Deborah.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just smash that like button, everyone.
Yeah, smash that like.
Yes.
And for anyone who's coming over here from my Facebook group or my YouTube or Instagram, please subscribe to Martin and Christina here at Martin Thrift Store Gold. Awesome channel.
We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
That's so awesome.
No problem.
All right.
And we got Stu in the house.
Stu Pasco. Martin can never pronounce your name. He still ST. Who is that?
STU.
All right.
We got Reseller King.
Oh, hello, Reseller.
Reseller King's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Oh, Treasure Coast Picker said, first time here. Thanks to Dom. Thank you so much.
Glad to see you. You made it.
Hey, we got Eric, the Vintage Flippers in the house.
Hey.
Oh, wow. Hello.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, and he subscribed because you were at 666. Eric got you off of the evil.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's not good. Now wait a minute. You did not tell me that when I came on, this was at 666. What's up with that?
No,
we didn't know.
I'm pretty sure it was 668.
I was wondering why my sales were lower today than normal.
Oh no.
28. We need 1 more to tie it.
1 more.
Come on.
This is awesome.
Oh.
Eric, get your wife to sign on.
All right.
All right. Let's
we'll get to question number 2.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So do you find it difficult to do as much as you do on selling platforms as well as creating such informational content while still having a full-time job?
Wait, so do I find it difficult to do the eBay business and then do the full-time job and then also do the Facebook group, you mean, and the YouTube channel and the Instagram?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I pride myself on time management, and this has, for the first time, I would really say, has really kind of stretched me to my limits of I've got to be extremely creative and efficient to figure out a way to get all this done, because it is tough. Because not only that, there's also family life too. You know, for those who don't know me, I have a wife and 2 kids, and today I was at a basketball game, and my daughter does drumline, and so there's drumline competitions that we go to as well. And you know, there's a lot of stuff, and you know, you got to make time for Mrs. Primetime, or you know, I'm going to be in the doghouse, so I've got a lot of stuff I got to keep tabs on. Yeah.
I remember asking you one night. You said you never sleep or rarely sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need as much sleep as most people. Wait, we got to 29. We need one more to get to 30.
Right.
30. So I could get by on 4 hours, and some nights I do, but I can't do that every single day. I do need to catch up sometimes. So, you know, I'll have to get 6 another night, or you know, on a lucky day I might get to like sleep in on a weekend and get to like an 8-hour, but that's rare. So but most of the time it's, you know, it's kind of just sleeping in chunks too. So you know, sleep for several hours, then wake up, get some done, and then just try to sleep a little bit more. So yeah, it's time consuming and busy and tiring all in the same day.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing great at it.
I was gonna say you're doing awesome. So
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
yeah, of course.
31. I think we did it.
We did it.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome.
Yes,
thank you, everyone. I am so pumped up. That's great.
Yeah.
Me too.
Breaking records.
Got over your 666.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that kind of knocks out the 666 thing. So
Exactly. It just takes it out.
So for all you new viewers, KRISTINA and I were actually hosting a bunch of live stream interviews with top YouTubers. So that's what's going on right now, what you guys are watching. It's I think it's actually like the 5th or 6th one. I messed up on the thumbnail, but
on the number. It said 4. I was like, I thought you guys did more than 4.
Yeah, it's definitely more than 4. But I have one coming up on Tuesday then with Hustle Williams. And then a bunch more next month. So you definitely want to stay tuned for all of them because they're going to be good.
Awesome. Now, you know, we should mention, a lot of people don't know that we're not too far away from each other where you normally live. So
yes, exactly.
We will meet up in person sometime for sure.
Yeah. Because right now we're in San Jose on vacation.
Yeah.
We actually live in Buffalo, New York. So, and that's only couple hours
3 hours away from Dom. So
yeah. Well, we're losing Laura here, so Laura's not feeling too well. Feel better, Laura.
Oh no.
Goodbye, Laura. Thank you for coming by.
Yes, get rid of your pneumonia, please. But we actually are planning a road trip over this summer, so stay tuned.
You probably will be seeing us, not
great. Yeah, we'll have a video together, like in person.
Yeah, how cool would that be?
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Oh, we got Anthony in the house. Good to see you, Anthony.
These interviews are so cool, educational and motivational.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really awesome.
We're actually learning a lot during these interviews as well.
Oh, Laura's still here. She's not leaving. I misinterpreted. I thought she was leaving. Awesome. That's good.
Oh, she said it's still early on the West Coast. Yes, we're all thrown off with this time.
Yeah. It's only 6 o'clock where we're at, but I'm advertising this for 9 p.m. Yes. It's very weird.
Hard. Alrighty. But now on to number 3.
Okay, question 3.
What would be your number 1 tip for someone who is starting reselling?
Well, for someone who's starting reselling, number 1 tip for getting started, I would say, is start selling stuff around the house that you don't have use for anymore. And there you could just, quickly see how you could, easily just make profits on everyday items, or I mean, maybe it's something collectible you have, maybe it's not necessarily every day, but generally just stuff laying around the house, make money with that, and then branch out into things that you really know best. And then after that, you start getting into diversifying into areas you don't know as well, but you want to learn. And by doing that, you just continue to grow over time. So, start with what's around the house, then move to what you know, then go to, specialize in what you know, and then make sure it's stuff you like, that you have fun doing it. You got to have fun. If you don't have fun doing this, like any job, you're not gonna stick with it long, and you have to be patient.
Yes.
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 It's also real important. Too many people give up too quickly. They want to have all the success in the world overnight, and it just doesn't work like that. It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an awesome tip.
Yeah, that's a really
definitely
good tip.
one we should
That
have
was like 3
probably
tips.
done.
Yeah. And Reseller King brings up a good point. Learning one platform before you go on to other ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's also, that's really important too.
Hmm.
And I would also say, because most people who start out, I would say if they're starting out with reselling, eBay is definitely the most user friendly if you want to start out. I think you might get a little overwhelmed if you started out on like Poshmark with all the sharing and everything. Might get a little overwhelming there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I think eBay is definitely the easiest and the most friendliest for the vast majority of sellers.
Yeah, exactly. And it reaches to a lot more people that feel that like Poshmark or
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the only place that's really going to beat it would be Amazon, but that's different. It's a completely different beast. It's not the same thing as eBay. They're totally different marketplaces in many respects. I mean, there's some similarities, but they're very different. And I would not. A lot of people who are very experienced in eBay don't even want to jump onto Amazon. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah. So not to say, I'm not saying Amazon's bad. I'm just saying that for
Yeah.
someone brand new starting out,
It's
as a general rule of thumb, eBay would be way easier.
good to
Mhm.
know. It's a good thing we started on eBay then.
Yeah.
No.
We've even tried to just use Amazon, and it's still just like we're
It's
just like, oh, let's just get better at eBay.
yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
Well, that will come in the future probably. But
Yeah.
now,
Yeah, have it as a future goal, and
yeah,
slowly work towards it.
yeah.
But we have Daniel Martin in the house.
Oh, what's up, Daniel?
He said, "What's going up?" and then goes, "What's going on?" LOL.
We got Brandon in the house. Retro junk.
Toys.
Toys,
That's what he
toys.
loves to sell.
Yeah.
Reseller.
Here's a little toy for retro junk right here. I mean, it's not that vintage, but I just happen to have it sitting next to me.
Ghost Rider.
He actually was.
Themed Ghost Rider one right there, glow in the dark. So it's
Wow.
the last one left. I sold a bunch of those things, and he'll probably like the Castle Grayskull behind me if you guys could see it. I'm not sure.
The He-Man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
then,
Nice. He said.
Yeah.
King said, no, more returns on Amazon.
That's true. That's true. It's the culture with Amazon.
Pretty sure they have a 90-day return policy with
Oh.
with everything. You can't change that at all.
Yeah.
But that could be false. I'm not 100% sure on that.
But all right, let's get on to question number 4. Well, this kind of, I guess, ties into the last one, but do you sell on multiple platforms? And if so, which ones?
Not really. I'm primarily, as I told you earlier, I started with eBay. It's what I know best, and I stick to it. I do realize in the back of my head you could technically lose that at any time. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, eBay could go out of business. It could fold. That's unlikely, but you always have to in the back like think, okay, if that happened, what would I do? So I have a Poshmark account. I did try to sell on there once. I only had one item on there, but I was just trying to get used to the system, and I'm at least familiar with it. I've not sold anything on Amazon. I do sell some things on Craigslist once in a while if they're, just bigger items that I don't like, super like a furniture type piece or something like that you can't really ship on eBay. So I do that. And then I put things sometimes on Let Go and OfferUp, like your local marketplace type apps. I'll do that. But in terms of shipping, things that involve shipping, it's really eBay is where I focus on.
Yeah, that's kind of where we've fallen into too. We've tried like some other platforms just in case, but like we like eBay the best, I feel.
And we've had some good success with Mercari, so that's going pretty well.
Yeah, Mercari is going well for us.
Have you
also.
tried Mercari at all, Dominic?
No, I have not, and I know some people do, like and do well. And the thing I can't get over with Mercari, I don't like that you have to wait until they get your item and then they give you feedback for you to have your funds released.
Yeah.
I love on eBay, I'm spoiled with it,
Yeah.
that as soon as the sale is made, I've got my money in my account.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to shift to a system where that's not the case. But this is why I say you have to be aware of it. Let's just say for some reason eBay went away or I lost my eBay account or something. I'd know of Mercari and I'd be over there trying to sell stuff. So you have to have backup plans and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I know that's one thing we hate about it too. We hate waiting. Not like, oh yeah, we just hate waiting.
Yeah. Well, once they get it, once they receive it, like once it's delivered, how long do they have before they'll just release the funds anyway? It's 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Yeah. See, I start getting mad on eBay if someone has not paid within 2 days. I have my automatic case opener basically just open the case for me.
Yeah.
So I don't have any, after 2 days I message them once it's 24 hours and I say my account is automatically set to, open a case if you don't pay, by tomorrow, and that almost always works.
Yeah,
wow, that's crazy.
That's good because I know we've waited sometimes because we don't have that automatic like case opener on our eBay store at least. And there's been times where we've waited like someone will message us, at least I know of in one case they messaged us like, hey, I'm not going to pay you till I get paid on Friday, and it was on Monday, and I was like, okay.
I hate stuff like that. Yeah, I can't stand that.
Yeah, that was really irritating. So
I think our third item we've ever sold that took over a month was waiting a payment.
Laura said she starts twitching at 4 hours.
I know. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I do find it annoying, Laura. I do agree with you on that. But I try to tell myself, all right, I got to wait a little bit, and but after a day, that's when I really start getting edgy.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at 34 people. Hey. Wow.
No, wow. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to the 40s.
I know. Ooh. Then the next person's really got a tough number to beat.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, we actually had to wait over a month for one of our payments one time.
On eBay?
Yeah, the person was messaging us like, oh, I still want it. I'm trying to give you the payment or whatever, but they weren't. And so
did you eventually get paid?
Yes.
Yeah, one random day it was just item paid, ready to ship, and we were just like, no way. Like
yeah.
Laura's gonna go hype it so we could get you to 40.
Hey, thank you, Laura.
Yeah, hey, you know what? It'll go to 40 from word of mouth from people in the chat. So if people in the chat spread out, hey, come over to the channel, they'll come over.
Yes. Everyone share. But Reseller King did make a good point about Amazon. You have to wait 2 weeks to get paid there. So I feel like we'd be really impatient with that. Like we'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
Duncan said, "Smash the like,
folks." Thank you, Duncan. Duncan, actually, I don't know if you know, but he resells really old letters online, like from the 1800s and 1700s. Oh. Yeah, it's really cool.
So, like personal letters?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what are they? Like when you send
postcards.
Yeah, postcards and stuff.
Postcards?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so he sells old postcards, not like a loose.
No,
well,
he
it's
has
like both.
He has postcards, and then he has actual old like mail that people sent to each other.
That's very interesting. I want to look into that a little more because I do come across that sometimes when I go to estate sales. I'll come across like a bundle of, old correspondence between people, their love letters, but they're usually things that are like from the 60s or 70s, not from the 1800s.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Duncan, do people want to buy like a love letter between two people in the 1960s or 1970s?
He's always busy with work. He's gonna send his store.
Yeah, here.
Kathy Bull in the house, my long lost sister.
Hey.
She made, if I could just put a plug in for that, she made 13 sales in my Facebook group today, the Facebook
Wow.
Reselling Resource Center, because we did, and we may start this as a tradition called Support That Seller Sunday, where we pick one seller and highlight their store and or their closet, and then you're encouraged to buy from that one person. So today was the first time we tried it. Put Kathy Bull's store up, and before you knew it, I mean, she had a record breaking. Today's record breaking day. We're breaking records here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she had at
She's
least
up to 26.
26 sales for the day. That's absolutely insane.
Wow.
Yeah, now all those 26 are not all from the Facebook page, but I think most of them are, though. Most of them are.
Crazy.
So that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
My head with shipping stuff and packing it out.
Yeah. I'm sure she's happy, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe she's like, "Oh my God, this is
Yeah.
Needs help."
Yeah. I think we actually, when the first Help Sellers-a-thon that we were a part of, I think we purchased a little Perry the Platypus toy from her store.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably did.
Yeah.
Thanks for contributing to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it was really, really awesome.
We sold a lot that
I
day
think we
too.
had 2 or 3 sales from that. So yeah. She said 13 of them from the Facebook page. I've been shipping for hours.
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
Well, I'm happy.
Yeah, hey everyone, go buy from Kathy Bull. We don't want her to get any sleep tonight, so just keep making her ching all night long, because she has like 700 items in her store, so we could keep Kathy up all night.
Wow.
Yes, we could. All right, everyone go buy something from Kathy Bull. Wow, that's crazy. All right, we should probably get on to the next question, though.
All right.
All right, let's see. Number 5 is actually, what is your policy for returns on eBay?
My policy for returns is that I do free returns because eBay really does encourage that, and I do that I will pay the return shipping on that because eBay encourages that as well, and there's 60-day returns. And to explain a little bit more why you would do that, because especially if you're new and you're hearing that, you're going to think that's absolutely insane. But it's actually not. And the reason why is, one, it gives you a boost in search, because eBay does value that. They really want to make the consumer feel confident in the sellers, and that is one thing that does do, by the way, is that increases consumer confidence. So that's good for you as a seller. The other thing is that if you look at the time frame when people make a return, it is almost always within the first few days or first week. So the chances that you're going to have someone at day 59 that's going to initiate a return, I have literally never had that happen to me. It is always within the first week. I mean, sure. Could someone who comes and watches this one day say they had someone at day 59 do it? Yeah, sure. But it's extremely rare. And the other thing you have to figure in your mind, this is what ultimately convinced me of doing it, if you rationalize it this way, you are going to get an increased boost in sales because of your increased search ranking for doing that. And you're going to get increased, and just, it's like I said, the consumer confidence is going to increase as well. So you're going to get more people buying from you. So the one time you have to spend an extra $5 because there was a return, you have to pay the shipping on it, that is more than outweighed by the significant increase in sales that you're going to have made. So you just have to just account for that and just not think about it too much, because sometimes people just overthink the one return and they're kind of cutting their nose off to spite their face, because really in the long run, it's not that big of a deal when you factor in, again, all those increased sales that you're getting.
So you're not worried about kind of like scammers, maybe? Because that's what Retro Junk said. He says he doesn't deal with returns because of scammers.
Well, you can't truly say you don't deal with returns, because if you say no returns and the buyer files an item not described case against you, eBay will force you to take the return. So it doesn't matter what your policy is on it. You could write that you don't take returns and click no returns all you want, but eBay will force you to take the return. They'll literally take the money out of your account and give it to the buyer. So that's what they're going to do. Again, if it's an item not as described case. Now, in terms of people scamming, or not even necessarily scamming, but just doing things that are just ridiculous, you can do things to protect yourself. I always advise filming your returns when you open them up, because one of the things eBay will say is, well, we don't know what it exactly looked like when you open it up. So if you film it, and I know some people say, well, there's no place to send the link of, what you filmed. Well, no, that's not true. eBay would, if the case was contentious enough, they would send you a private place on Facebook where you could upload a video link if you needed to. But if someone sends you a faulty return, like I had a case once where I sold some comic books, they were $40, and the person sent them back to me and sent them back not protected, so not in the bags or the boards that I sent them in. And as a result, since they came all the way from California and New York, they got destroyed in the mail.
Oh.
And I couldn't resell them. So I filmed myself opening it. I called eBay, and this is the importance of having a good reputation. I really strive to keep my feedback as close as possible to 100% and not have negatives. And I don't have any negatives. I have a couple neutrals, but my feedback looks 100%. And, being with eBay for so long, since 2000, that also goes a long way. When I have an issue, I'll call them up. And like in that case, I said, hey, this person sent back something faulty and defective. So you could file what's called a faulty return or a defective return case with eBay. And you sometimes have to up it to a supervisor, by the way, to get it appropriately dealt with, because sometimes the lower level folks don't know as much how to deal with it. And what ultimately happened with that is when you do free returns, you do have the ability, there's another advantage to it, to offer only a 50% refund. And if the person tries to leave a negative feedback, if you have free returns that you offer, eBay will take off the negative feedback. So that's another advantage. Now you would have to call to get that removed, but it is within their policy that they will take out that negative feedback. And so what eBay did in that case is they said, all right, here's what you do: refund the person 50%. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you a voucher for the difference. So it was $40. So they said refund the person $19.99, and we're going to give you a voucher for the eBay shipping supply store, which I use anyway to get supplies, for $20. So that's how they did that. So you have to advocate for yourself, though, because if you just sit there and let yourself get, taken advantage of sometimes by certain buyers who do things like that. And not that was done on purpose necessarily, but it was just very careless, and they didn't have any regard to my items.
Yeah.
So you do have to stand up for yourself in those situations, because you don't want to, be out $40.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We've been trying to debate whether or not we want to do returns or how long we want to do returns for, because we've had some crap returns lately that eBay has just accepted for us. Like, we had a mug that we sent out in as much bubble wrap that you could put into a mug and in a box or whatever, and it's smashed. So yes, I understand we should definitely refund that person, but then that person still left us feedback.
It was positive feedback, but it just said they didn't ship it well. They didn't care to
poor
pack.
Shipping, and I don't want people to think that we have poor shipping and
yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, we would have had to give them a refund anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just so frustrating to me that they could say that.
You mean that they wrote that in the comments?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I also had a Columbia jacket that we had measurements for in the description. Someone bought it, and then they said they wanted to return it, which we know that eBay doesn't do returns if you have
the measurements in your
for
description.
it, because I guess he bought it for the wrong size. But I don't know, he ended up returning it. It wasn't too bad, but it was just I didn't think that should happen if we had the measurements on it.
Yeah, and actually that specific item we had no returns on. It was one of the first ones we listed, and we didn't know how to put on returns. So we were so confused as to how we could even have that return.
Right. Well, and a couple things from the chat. I mean, Retro Junk said he puts no returns because it stops scammers from even trying to buy the item. That is a strategy you can use, and I understand the logic behind that. It's just, if you do have a savvy enough buyer, they'll know the item not as described policy, and they'll try to take advantage of it either way. Laura does say 20 years and thousands of sales, no scams.
I know.
And I understand what she's saying. I would agree with that. I haven't had that really either. I wouldn't consider what the guy did to me sending those comics back as a scam. It was just, again, carelessness and no regard for my items. But I think that there's an over focus on people scamming. I don't think there's as many people scamming. See, because what happens is if someone like, let's say Rally Roots, right? They had a case where someone sent them something back and it was like nothing. It was like a brick or like batteries or something like that. Happened to Craigslist Hunter too. When people that big like Rally Roots and Craigslist Hunter have a scammer issue and they do a video on that, well, it gets seen by so many people, and a lot of people then think, oh my God, now I have to be worried that there's all these scammers that are coming out and are gonna, scam me. And it's a very small percent, but those cases are being magnified because there's such a big audience for some of those folks.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong making those videos. It's totally fine to do that, totally legitimate. But I'm just saying the way people think about it, they then think, wow, this must be more prevalent when it's,
really not.
probably just a tiny percent of what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon actually said you might be convincing him to accept returns. We shall see.
Yeah. I mean, and I know for a fact, if you talk to Craigslist Hunter, that he'll tell you that the percent of scams that he has to deal with per year are extremely low. And speaking of Rally Roots, I'm going to have them on my channel this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for interview. And I could even ask them, if I remember when they're there, like what percent. That's actually a good question to jot down, to ask them what percent of scams they feel that they get.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to make sure.
We'll have that tomorrow. I've got a list of questions for them too. So.
Alrighty, let's see. Laura actually made a good point. Just remember, if you take returns, you get an item return and then you resell it again. I've resold an item for more to buyer number 2.
That's correct. And do not refund the money until you get the item back.
Yeah.
That's a big mistake some people make.
Yeah. I don't know why you would ever do that. I know eBay tells you to wait, but like I was like, I'm not gonna refund them until I get the item back. No way.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, but let's see. Next question. Number 6 would be, what has pushed you to continue reselling so much on eBay?
I mean, number one, I just love it. I have a lot of fun with it. So I love just going out and finding stuff and discovering stuff. It's one of the reasons I call myself the primetime treasure hunter. I love treasure hunting. And, we're finding things that are treasures or potential treasures, and then doing some research on it to learn more about it sometimes. And, then you list it. And when you could convert that, small investment into a big flip sometimes, that's very, as very addicting. And so it drives you to want to find more, and it just continuously reinforcing. There's the financial aspect of it, obviously. I mean, I don't need to do it because of my full-time job, but I like doing it. I like that it does provide like an extra cushion. So that's good as well. Like I mentioned, having 2 kids and they go to college, and I've got to think about paying for that. And reselling is a good, especially if you get into social media and stuff and start to using that to develop alternative income streams. That can help you out as well. So those are like the main things. It's mostly fun, passion, finances, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And you find some cool things. Like I would be so intrigued if we could find some
like 1,000 plus comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. And you should. I don't know if you saw the storage unit haul that I just got.
Yeah,
no.
Oh my God, yeah. I had to buy 2 pallets to put in my garage.
Oh boy.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. Yeah, I mean I filled my whole car. I filled up, which is a Subaru Outback, and I mean I cannot believe how much stuff I fit in there. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
I know,
nuts.
we've been meaning to watch it, but we got to drive around a Porsche today instead.
Yeah.
So. But let's see. Treasure.
Wow, that's bad. You're gonna read that from Treasure Coast.
Yeah, Said he got burned for $1,000 on a comic book. Buyer wasn't happy but refused to return the book. eBay sided with him and PayPal sided with the buyer. Now there's lawyers involved.
Wow. What comic book, Treasure Coast?
I know. We need to know what comic book that was.
That's crazy because I'm big into comic books.
Wow.
Matt Davis just asked, what if you get the item back and it's trashed? Matt, you might want to rewind a little bit. I don't know if you just came on, but I just covered that with opening a faulty return case with eBay. That happened to me, and I talk about how that wound up getting resolved in my favor.
Yes. Rewind just a little bit.
Yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man number 122, graded 9.6.
Yeah, see, that's the issue. It was a graded comic book, slabbed, and that's a near mint condition comic book. So near mint plus. So yeah, that's an Amazing Spider-Man. That's the best Spider-Man comic series you want to get, and that's a relatively early one. So yeah, I would be furious as well. So
Wow.
That's crazy. Did you ever get the book back then? That's what I want to know.
I don't think he did. The buyer looks like didn't want to return it, and so PayPal sided with the buyer, so the buyer still has the book. Plus, I guess got the money back. That's absolutely crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's nuts. That's not okay.
Yeah.
Martin, you can claim the post office for the broken cup. Oh. Maybe
Really?
we should, because that thing was packaged so I made sure it was perfect.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if you have priority, if you ship priority mail, then you're going to get a certain amount of insurance that's associated with that, $50 to $100, depending on your seller level.
Yeah.
So I've had to use that one time. So when eBay lost. What was it? No, not eBay. I'm sorry. I meant to say the post office. The post office lost it was some peanuts item that I sold on, what was it? It was some kind of talking peanuts item that I sold. It was like a music box or something that I sold on eBay, and they lost it. And so, and it's a funny thing about the post office. They wonder why they're losing money.
Yeah, I know.
They actually sent me back more than what not like a huge amount more, but like $5 to $10 more than what I actually spent on the item. Like,
oh no.
And so I'm like, great, I actually made money on you guys losing the item.
Yeah, that's funny. But Treasure Coast Picker said nope, the buyer wouldn't return it. Buyer's financial institution sided with him, so PayPal gave him the money back.
Wow.
That really
That's terrible, man.
That really is awful.
That's crazy.
Let's see.
So he was unhappy with the comic book, so he issued a return, but then he said he wasn't returning the comic book.
Well, eBay sided with Treasure Coast Picker, but then the guy got PayPal involved, and PayPal sided with the buyer apparently.
That's really nuts.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. DP Tavares said he's used it on a shirt and it went very smoothly. It was the 2 Brooks Brothers shirts that got completely destroyed. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
For sure, because I know we packaged that up so nice.
Yeah.
Duncan said, Martin, was that the only mug you sold out of 200 and it came back broken?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
These mugs have been causing me nothing but headaches.
I know.
That's what happens when you go to the thrift store without doing your research.
All right, but let's get on to question number 7, actually. There's 2 parts to this question, so you're going to have 2 different answers.
Good.
What was your favorite thing that you've ever sold? And what is the most expensive item that you've ever sold?
Let's go with the most expensive. Where'd Martin go? Did he just like disappear?
Yeah, I know.
I'll be right back.
Martin just like levitated into the air. All right. So there he is. All right. So, the most expensive item that I ever sold was interesting because it was the night of my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, and I was going to have my live show to celebrate that.
Yeah.
And about a half an hour before I was about to start, I made a $725 sale for a box of Magic the Gathering cards.
Wow.
No way.
Bought for peanuts out of essentially a storage unit. I mean, it was from a guy who but he was an employee for Got Junk, the company, the junk removal service. So he had a bunch of stuff stored in a storage locker essentially, and he wanted me to come clear out whatever I wanted to clear out from it. And there was a big tub that said Magic the Gathering cards. So I just grabbed everything in there, and this was mostly sealed. It was the Mirage set. So for anyone who plays Magic. So it was old, from like mid-90s, and not much of that's left anymore. So it goes for high money. So that was in some ways also my favorite because it's the most expensive one, and whatever makes the most money is in many ways my favorite. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would put up there as a favorite sale. I mean, I did once, I've talked about this before, but I found an amazing Spider-Man 300 on the bottom of a trash heap at an estate sale that I was privately picking at. And it was just cool because it was just in a manila folder. And I pulled it out of there, did not know it was going to be in there. And it was in near mint condition, and sold it for not even graded. Treasure Coast Picker would appreciate this, but not even like I didn't even have to send it out to get graded or certified or anything like that. It sold for like $575.
Wow.
$525 or something like that. So that was fun. Anyway, that's like a favorite too because it's just how I found it. So it was just like amazing. Yeah, it was really cool.
Found some gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Duncan said he once had an American envelope from 1863 with a stamp on it. He got it for 99 cents. Or no, the item went from 99 cents to $100 in an auction. 2 bidders went mad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, now see, this is the thing I have to be mindful of as I go on, more of these interviews. People like Kathy, who've been with me for a while, and Laura, I've heard these same stories like 8,000 times. So I've got to come up with new items to talk about.
That's okay. It's new to us. So.
Right.
She's calling you out.
He's talked about it once before.
She's hilarious. Bye, Reseller King.
Y'all, see you later. He's got to go pack some orders up.
Business calls.
Matt Davis said, so how do you guys feel about the reselling opened movies? Open movies that for sure work and accepting refunds?
I'm not sure I know what that means.
No, me either.
How do you guys feel about reselling open movies that for sure work?
I'm thinking he means like DVDs or something that are open.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Not like used or something?
So used DVDs, I guess.
You have to say they're used, though.
Yeah.
I mean, with DVDs, unless it's something obscure, if it's, if they're like, made in like, mass amounts, if it's some, like, for example, in the storage unit that I just got, there's a Wonder Woman DVD set. Okay. Now, it's sealed. It's complete. It has seasons 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you go on eBay and you search for Wonder Woman TV show with Linda Carter from 1975 and you look it up, you could find a lot of these cheap because there's a lot of them that were open and people still have them. So, some of them it's just season 1. Some people have season 2, some season 3, some season 1, 2, and 3. But if you have season 1, 2, and 3 sealed, that's about a $45 to $50 set because there's only a few of those that are sealed, and the sealed makes a big difference for a lot of collectors and people. They want that, so very important to emphasize that if you have sealed, that it's sealed. Like, you want to use that as a keyword in your listing, but you also have to be careful because sometimes, and I just got some of this in my storage unit too, I got a lot of stuff that was genuinely sealed, but other times, like if you go to places like Big Lots Furniture or Walmart, what they do is they'll take like some pre-owned DVDs and they'll reseal it, and then they'll sell it, and people might look at it and think it's factory sealed and try to sell it as factory sealed, but then when the buyer gets it, they're going to be mad because it was obviously pre-owned stuff. And the way you could tell is that seal that goes around is looser. It's looser. It doesn't even have like an official look to it. It's got like a little pull on top, whereas the genuine factory sealed ones, I mean, that is just right on there, like solid. Like, you know, there's no give to it at all. Bye, Laura.
Oh, yeah, Laura's serving dinner to her crew.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, and hyping it up so much.
Yes,
thank you.
We really appreciate that.
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, Matt Davis said then, like, so they don't watch the movie, then return it. Oh, so he means like when you send out or sell a used DVD, like, would you accept returns on it because someone could just watch the DVD once and then return it with you?
Oh, I mean, you probably have to accept it, but then you could just resell it.
Yeah.
As long as they don't like destroy it or something like that.
Depends on it depends on the value. So I mean, I've not heard of that being a prevalent issue. You know, the people are doing that. In fact, the category where you're most likely to get a return is clothes.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Now, I sell clothes. I don't get a lot of returns, but the way you got to avoid that with the clothes is you really have to take measurements.
Yeah, I know. That's what we found, because we mostly sell clothes. It's like the first few items that we were listing without measurements.
Yeah.
I don't actually. Well, no, we did get some returns on those because it was too small. They didn't fit it, and then now we've really we have a system of how we get our pictures done, we get the measurements done, and we get them all listed. Yeah. Because we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it'll definitely decrease it significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Daniel Martin wants to know if anyone has ever thought about starting their own thrift store and then just picking up the good stuff to sell on eBay. So that's a pretty thought.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the best way to go about sourcing. It's just, I mean, because most thrift store, there's just so many easier ways to source merchandise than that. You do not have to do that. But I mean, sure, you know, if you had a family business, you know, where someone in the family had that and you had like an access point to that, that would be good. But
yeah,
I wouldn't go buy my own thrift store for that.
Oh, yeah, no.
And by the way, Kathy mentions that she has a ton of DVDs, and she really does. I mean, you should go to her store. It's called Hustle and Bustle. And she has so many of them, and she doesn't have a problem with returns. So there you go, like right from someone.
So she has a lot of listings, a lot of sold items, doesn't have problems with returns, especially DVDs. But let's see. So our final question for you is going to be, what is your favorite comic book character?
Oh, I'll answer that. But I wonder, I'm curious, like, does Kathy Bull know that? Does know that? You know, like, because if I say that, Kathy's going to say, oh, I've heard this 10,000 times. So I'm curious if anyone in the chat remembers, because I have said it before. Whether anyone remembers, I'll tell you who it is and why in just a second. So, Kathy, do you remember? Well, do you guys want to take a guess?
Us?
Kathy gets Superman.
I'm gonna guess the Amazing Spider-Man.
I do love
Batman because it's on your shirt.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I do love those, but actually no. My favorite, I'll tell you my top two. My favorite is Silver Surfer.
Okay.
My second is Aquaman. And did you see the new Aquaman movie?
We have not. No.
Oh my God, it was so good. It was
really
awesome.
Want to.
Yeah,
that kind of leads into another question we had.
Okay.
Marvel or DC?
Oh, definitely Marvel. I mean, well, from when I was younger. I mean, now things have changed a lot. You know, Marvel's done a lot with altering their characters and getting a lot of people mad with like changing the storyline. So I'm talking, when I say definitely Marvel, I'm talking 1980s.
All right.
and a little bit of the 90s, but you know, it was, you know, because I remember, you know, growing up reading those as a kid. Marvel was, and this is thanks to Stan Lee. There's no doubt about it, like in terms of arguing it, that Marvel definitely made an attempt to be more kid friendly.
Mm-hmm.
They were just the way the way the artists drew things. DC was very adult oriented with a lot of their art and a lot of their storylines, like Batman. A lot of the Superman stories even were titles like Swamp Thing. They were very just done more for older individuals, whereas Marvel was just much more cartoony.
Yeah.
And just kind of the jokes and the lines and the puns and the just even not even the comic book story itself, but like things they would do on the side, like Stan Lee would do Stan's soapbox and he would talk with the fans and stuff. And it was just, yeah, it was just more kid oriented. And that's my perspective and growing up with it is that, I grew up with it during that time range as a kid. So for me, that's why I say that.
Yeah, we love Marvel now. I didn't read many comic books when I was younger. I don't know about you. Did you read comic books?
No, not at all.
But we love the Marvel universe that's going on right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, no, they have done. I don't think anyone really disputes this, but because Marvel has just destroyed DC with how they're doing the movies.
Yeah.
Then one exception would be Aquaman. Aquaman was incredible.
Yeah.
Now, Carrie Berry's mom said that Skeletor, right here, I happen to have Skeletor. He just is my favorite toy as a kid. Close. All these toys, all these Masters of the Universe toys were my favorite toys as a kid. So, He-Man, and I've got a whole box of it back there. But I loved all those characters. In fact, I'm going to make some Primetime Treasure comic history on your channel. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I haven't actually shown this before, but so this is for Kathy Bull, who is tired of hearing the same stories over and over. I have said before that when I was younger, what got me into comic books was reading the little comics that were in the back of the He-Man figures. So you buy a Master Universe figure, in the back they put these little comic books in it. But I never got a chance to show one before, and I happened to pick one up the other day at an estate sale. So I had one. No, not an estate sale. At just a local vintage and modern sale. It was just hanging out there. I have it on video. But this is what they look like. They are these tiny little comics. Wow. Much different than a big, like right here. I have a big regular sized comic book. Like obviously, it's much different, but what this did was when I went into the store and the convenience store and saw things like this that were on the spinning racks, now I wanted to read that because I'm like, wow, I love this little thing. So imagine how much I'm going to love this, and it's only, this one says $1.25, so it's 90s. But back then when I was reading them, 75 cents, that's great. Comics were much, thing to remember back then, comics were much easier to access, from just coming right out fresh from the publisher. Back then I was working in a convenience store and making, I thought it was a lot of money back then, $5.25 an hour. So I would say, wow, that's 6 comic books.
Yeah.
And I would I literally would work in a convenience store and a corner store, and I would spend all my money on comic books pretty much. And I pretty much just paid the guy back, and he basically traded my labor for comics.
For comic books.
Yeah. But nowadays it's different for kids because now a comic book is $2.99 on average.
Yeah.
So, they can't just easily access that.
And at least I feel like, I don't know, like most of my aunts and uncles, they've gotten their kids like tablets, not actual books to read. And that's where I feel like it's fallen off.
Yeah, it's not like the actual paper and book. Like it's tablets and
they
computers
can just
and
watch
cell phones.
videos of the comic books, basically.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people get the digital version of the comics, which, listen, anyone who is a true comic fan, now this is going to sound strange if you're not someone who's, really into comics, but ask any comic collector. There is nothing like taking an old comic like Prime Slime, okay? Which is from, let's see, how old is Prime Slime? This is 1986, okay? And you pick it up, and you go right in the center of it, and you just take a big sniff of the center of the comic book, and it just has, the paper has like the best smell, like it's a comic smell. And comics fans love that smell. They'll all ask any Treasure Coast, if he's on here, he knows what I'm talking about. He's going to tell you right now he sniffed his comic books. And this is going to sound crazy too. I could tell you, okay, what decade a comic book was from just by smelling it.
No.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to come down and we're going to test you.
No, yeah, Kathy wants to know if it tastes like shoes. No, it's funny. There's actually a movie. Kathy has it in her store right now. It's a comic, but it's called Comic-Con. The Comic-Con movie of Kathy. Put that movie in your DVD player tonight, or if anyone wants to watch it on Netflix. And Comic-Con, Chuck Rosansky sits down in a diner in the beginning of the movie, and he's talking to Michael Carbonaro, who's a big comic book collector. He owns a place actually in Buffalo, Martin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he owns a comic book.
Sounds really familiar. So
yeah, and they're talking about that they could sniff comic books and they could get it down to the decade from doing that. So it's true. It really is true.
Treasure Coast Picker said absolutely he has ink on his nose.
Yep.
But Kathy Bull, actually, she said, I just subscribed and I'm going to dedicate Monday to binge watching us. So that's awesome.
There you go. She's awesome. She's really awesome. You're going to like Kathy. She's so funny. She makes me laugh all the time.
Yeah.
And Charles Doubling said, hey, Kristina and Martin, thanks for everything. You guys have no idea.
That's awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We really appreciate that.
We're always here to help. Alrighty. So that was our last question, actually. I forgot.
It was like exactly an hour.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, it was.
You guys are professional now. We broke the record tonight.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
And we still have 29 people in here, so.
That's
wow.
great. No, I have 30.
Oh, sorry. Mine might not be updated.
I want to do a quick disclaimer for Duncan. I did not mean to put you in timeout. I accidentally deleted his comment and then put him in timeout, but I meant to do that to somebody else. Sorry, Duncan.
Oh, I got a question that just came in, and I didn't know if anyone's gonna. I did not say anything about it, but Kathy wants to know if I know that it's my birthday next week. Yes, I do know it's my birthday next week.
So,
Well, happy early birthday.
happy early birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, March 8th.
Everybody say happy birthday to Dominic
Yes,
right
happy birthday.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Welcome. We'll be flying back on March 8th, so maybe we'll
Oh,
make
really? You're flying back on my birthday then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome. Kathy, I'm going to put you in charge of my birthday celebration plans.
They said, or Carrie Berry's mom said, oh, Kathy, message me. We need to figure something out. Oh, that's too funny.
Bunch of happy birthdays.
Yes.
Wow, I got a bunch of new subscribers. Thank you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's awesome. What'd your sub count go up to?
Right now I can just see 3. Let me check my app. Oh wow, I think I went up to like 10 subscribers.
Yeah, 10.
Oh, wow.
74. So 8 subscribers.
Nice. That's
Wow.
great.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
Awesome.
we all do rock. All right, but on that note, I think that's it.
Yeah, that was our questions we had. I think you did great, Dom. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. It was a great interview, and thanks for everyone who came over from the Facebook group, Facebook Reselling Resource Center, and anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, at prime_time_treasure. And of course, my YouTube channel is Primetime Treasure Hunter. So if you want to come by over there, check out what I got. It's over 340 videos at this point. So
Wow.
a lot of stuff up.
He's a genius too. You will
Yeah.
learn so much from him.
You got so many tips.
Yes.
And what was I about to say? I completely forgot actually.
Okay. All right.
So
Your link is in the description.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Your link is in the description.
Oh, thanks, guys.
So you can all go check out his channel. He does have really, really amazing content.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
This was our 90th video, so that was cool.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Treasure Coast.
Yes. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ara. Thank you, Ara. Ara is just such She's awesome. She comments on every single YouTube video of mine.
Oh, yes.
She is awesome.
Love the support. So thank you very much.
She is awesome. All right, everyone.
Always.
Thank you so much. And yeah.
Yeah, that was our live interview number. I think it was like 5 or 6.
Even though it says 4, we were wrong.
Yes.
Thanks, Bunny. Thank you. I didn't mean to leave you out, Bunny. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Guys.
Bye, everyone.